Good morning, friends. Today I want to talk with you about Argentina, Brazil, and Russian Federation relationships. That, of course, will make impact to Ukraine and all other world. So, Argentina and Brazil upset the Russian Federation. Why was that? While the world was following Comrade Xi's visit to Russia and continuing to comment on the results of his negotiations with Comrade Pu, interesting and, in my opinion, symptomatic processes began to take place in the Russian direction of the foreign policy of the two South American giants, Argentina and Brazil. More recently, at the end of January of this year, Argentine President Alberto Fernandez declared that he would not give up dialogue with Russia, and on February 3rd, he arrived to Moscow, where, as the Russian media reported with delight, Putin and Fernandez shook hands, hugged, and started negotiations. Considering Argentina and Brazil are just on the way to become democratic, it was a kind of surprise here in Ukraine that they supported us instead of Russia. By the way, dear friends, please subscribe to the channel so you will not miss the video and support this important dissemination of information. And if you want to support me with this job in details, down below you may find the PayPal address. So, the March reports of the local mass media testified to positive changes in the policy of the mentioned states, not least thanks to the educational work of the United States. Let's recall at least the speech at the beginning of March at the Summit of Foreign Affairs Ministers of the G20, which of course includes Brazil and Argentina, of the Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Then Blinken clearly connected the war of the Russian Federation against Ukraine with the topic of food security, which is so important for many countries of the world, which is so important actually for everyone, for you, all of you, because prices increased dramatically in the supermarkets. So he warned, if we allow Russia to do what is doing in Ukraine with impunity, it will be a signal to potential aggressors around the world that they can get away with it too. As you know, Brazil and Argentina, which by the way is Russia's BRICS partner, for those who doesn't know, there is a kind of BRICS club, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and some other countries. So it's upset the Russian Federation by supporting the resolution of the United Nations General Assembly on February 23rd. The principles of the United Nations Charter underline a comprehensive, just, and lasting peace in Ukraine. Already in mid-March, Alberto Fernandez condemned the invasion and demanded that Russia comply with United Nations norms. The Argentine opposition went even further. Argentina cannot be neutral, as it was at other historical moments. They mean in Second World War. Argentina must be together with all democratic countries and bring its relations with Russian Federation, which breaks all the rules. And I agree with these guys totally. To the four the leader of the opposition republic proposal said that parliament, Patricia Bullrich, I'm sorry if I told the name wrong, the same Patricia Bullrich who was the Minister of National Security during the scandal with a large bath of drugs found in February 2018 in a school at the Russian embassy in Buenos Aires. This is really weird story, guys. For those who doesn't know, I strongly advise for you to Google this story because this was a kind of story where Russian diplomatic representatives were transporting drugs, many kilos of drugs from Argentina to Russia by their diplomatic airplanes, and they were there was a kind of incident with customs service or with police. So I strongly recommend you to read all these articles. And here is the recent statement of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Brazil, Mauro Vieira, that his country is a signatory of the Treaty of Rome and a participant of the International Criminal Court. And in the event of Putin's arrival on its territory, consequences await him. So what does it mean? It means that if Putin will come to Brazil, it is mandatory for Brazil to arrest him. And it's not just about laws, about mandatory things. This is about, the story for the future, because if your country signs all these documents and then they let this guy come into the country and don't arrest, this is a kind of being opposite to all normal, all democratic world. So the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs could not have expressed himself more frankly. It is important that Argentina and Brazil are truly giants that other countries in the region listen to. So this means if Argentina and Brazil will follow these policies and will not remain the same relationships with this criminal guy Putin, then these countries will lead all the region to do the same. So Chile, Venezuela, all other countries will not support Putin, will not support Russia with their war. So I would just add a couple of things that I would say politicians in Brazil, in Argentina, in Ukraine, in all democratic countries, they follow what the people want, and even not in democratic countries, most of them. So if people want to support Ukraine, politicians can do nothing with that. So in Argentina and Brazil, I think there is something going on the same. So because citizens of these countries want to support Ukraine and don't want to keep relationships with Russia, and that's why these politicians started to move ahead against Russia. And the only thing I want to finish this video is to say thank you to all citizens of Brazil, Argentina, and citizens of any other country that supports in this war Ukraine, because Ukraine fights not only for our own freedom. This is a kind of test for democratic world, if Ukraine loses the war, then autocratic countries like Russia, China, and others will think they can do everything in this world, and they will keep, they will move ahead with the wars in other countries. This is what I want to say about Latin America for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.